I'm Jose Vizquerra, President and CEO of OIII Mining. We have a project in Val-d'Or called Marban and Alpha. We have over 3.9 million ounces of gold in a very prolific district, a district that has produced more than 40 million ounces of gold. With me is our Vice President of Exploration, Louis Gariepy, and Jean-Félix, who is our Director of Operations, with whom we're going to be very pleased to talk about our projects.
Gentlemen, so nice to see you all. OIII Mining, what an extraordinary story. I've been following you for, well, not that long. I'm quite new to the project. And I just see you've got a fantastic resource base, and you've got a very attractive market capitalization. And I see that the gold market has not been very friendly to you in the last few months. Indeed, it has not been friendly to so many companies. But obviously, the company is based on its geology, and I don't know the geology of this area. So I wondered if you could just talk to me about what your plans are for this for the next year. But perhaps before we do that, could you just introduce me to the geology that you've got in your resources at the moment? I think that'd be a really good starting point.
Fundamentally, it's very important to maybe do a quick introduction here. We are part of one of the most important greenstone belts in the world. As you know, the most important greenstone belts are in Australia and certainly in Canada. One of them is where we are located, which is Val-d'Or and Timmins. We have all our assets in Val-d'Or. And Luis, our Vice President of Exploration, will go more in detail into what we have, particularly in Marban and then in Alpha. In Marban, where we are working on moving our project from a preliminary economic assessment to a pre-feasibility study, remembering the preliminary economic assessment was showing a net present value of $423 million with a 5% discount rate. Luis, all yours.
All right, so here is geologically, very simplistically, our the location of our properties in the Val-d'Or Malartic districts. This is the trace of the major Cadillac Larder Lake fault. The location of the well-known Canadian Malartic Mine is right here. And at Marban, mineralization is associated with splay faults coming off the Cadillac Larder Lake, which deposited a series of gold deposits in that particular area of the property. So it's important to note that our PFS that we're currently working on is including these deposits located in the southeast portion of the Marban property, and it's also, so it means that we have this entire northwest part of the property that is probably 3 times the size of the Marban engineering project that we still have to explore. It's more a greenfield exploration, very little historical drilling. And we know for sure that those splay faults continues on that part of the property. So later this year, we should have a program to start execute drilling there potentially later this year or next winter.
Hang on, Louis, thank you. That's a really helpful introduction. But just if we just focus on that Marban area, you've got some you've got the symbols, the hammer and the hammer symbols suggesting that there are old mines there. And were those small underground mines going down structure? Because the resource grade you've got at Marban is around 1 gram a ton. So is it wall rock, or is it is it in the intrusions associated with the structure, or what kind of structures are you looking at, or is it just kind of lots of little veinlets that carry the grade across barren material? Can you just kind of give me a bit more feel for what you're actually
So you see the geological map on the screen there?
Yes.
Okay. So give me a minute here. All right. So that's let's say a zoom in into the what is considered within the PFS. You see the outlines of the proposed pits. Those are the PEA pits.
Yeah.
They still have to be updated with the new resource update that's coming in a few weeks. So the geology, very simplistically, not simplistically, in more details. The same faults that I just showed are represented here. It's not a single line, obviously, it's a corridor, like it very often occurs. So this is the Norbanite fault. This is down here, the Marbanite fault. And those structures go across alternances of ultramafics in violet,
yes,
basalts in green, and felsic dikes in this pink, light pink color. So what happens in these corridors is the ultramafics are very soft, so they are ductile material, and the basalts and the dikes are more fragile. So those are the one who cracks up to allow deposition of the gold-bearing quartz veins. And the ultramafics, they do contain some veins sometimes, but very rarely, because they don't open up. It's too soft. It's like soap. So they shear, and really the potential is within the basalts and the dikes. So you see underneath the series of drill holes here, you see that at Marban, for example, the package, the basalt package is wider than elsewhere, and it's also at an angle with the rest. So we believe that that's why we had so many veins deposited in that basalt pocket at Marban, and you see maybe there's another map. The next map will be better. So this is a more detailed map where you can see also again that basaltic unit at Marban that is wider. So what has been historically mined are the high-grade veins. So it was underground mining going for the high grade in a series of following holes that occur in that basaltic unit, and they obviously they took the best, and but there is a series of veins and veinlets in the footwall and hanging walls. So this means that in fact the entire basaltic package at Marban can host gold mineralization.
Okay, so that's kind of the key question I was kind of getting to, really. So this isn't selective mining; this is bulk mining.
Yes, yeah, this is bulk mining, well, I don't have a drill section that I can show. I don't have that on hand right now. But what you will typically see, and it reflects in the press releases that we took out. If you look in details at the press releases, some of them you will see, for example, 2 grams over 25 meters, and then there's a gap where we hit the historical stopes. So there, and then the mineralization continues on the other side, and we may have another, let's say, 2 grams over 15 meters in the footwall. So that lower grade material was left by the underground mining, because obviously they couldn't get everything, all the tiny veinlets that are present in the basalt package. And sometimes, as you can see also in this press releases we released, very good grades can be, and even above 100 grams per ton intercepts were left in the walls of the underground operation.
So all of the resources in the PEA resource at the moment are centered on old workings. Is that correct? And it's just kind of it's the extension and the width and the strike extensions of these kind of the overall packages.
Yeah, that's exactly that. So we're taking the lower grade material in that around the historical underground mine, and in fact it's nothing new, right? You look at the neighbor Canadian Malartic. That's exactly what they did also, and Detour Lake is the same story. There were underground mines there in the past, and they realized that the geologists that worked there realized that there was that low grade envelope around the high grade chutes, and by doing the studies, we realized that that low grade material can be economic. So we go for the open pit scenario.
And what's the variability like along the strike? I mean, what's your drill density are you requiring to do? I mean, does it over time, you know, do you get statistical comfort on a certain drill spacing?
Basically at Marban and Norlartic, Kierans, we're talking roughly 40 meter spacing between drill holes. So it's we consider it's pretty good because many gold deposits have to be much tighter than that.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. So I mean, that's exactly what I was just trying to get to. So that your drill hole spacing for indicated, given the way that the geology is around 40 meters at Norlartic and Marban.
Correct. Yeah.
And so, are you doing a lot of infill drilling this year? I mean, how much of, sorry, I don't have the on top of my head. How much of your kind of PEA resource are you taking?
No worries. We had to drill. We completed about 26,000 meters of infill drilling, and I would say that probably 80% of these methods was completed on Norlartic. And the reason for that is that at Norlartic, in the historical database, we had a fair number of drill holes that were drilled in the 60s, 70s, and the 70s that couldn't pass the QA/QC test, basically because the detection limit in the lab that was used at that time was 0.3 grams per ton. And our cutoff is 0.3. So it means that all the material between 0.3 and 0.7, 0.8 was unreliable. So that's basically why we had to do that infill drilling to increase, to get the sufficient certainty to get those tonnages back into the indicated category.
And am I right in thinking that you're targeting March as your release for the resource at Marban that would feed into the PEA?
Correct. Yeah.
And are you still drilling, or have you reached data cutoff yet?
No, the drilling was completed before year end, before Christmas, and we received basically all the assay results. As you know, all the labs are overbooked, and it's dramatic, basically. But we managed to get all our assay results. It's all in, and our resource estimation consultant, G Mining, has already started working on the resource estimate update. So they will need approximately 3 to 4 weeks to complete that update.
Okay, great, Louis. Thank you so much. Why don't we give you a break and move over to Jean-Félix and ask about the how that's going to feed into the PEA, into the pre-feasibility study. You've got another 8 months to run on that, or so, 8 or 9 months. could you just kind of talk me through what are the what you're looking at is different to the PEA, and what the major changes are, and how you're accommodating inflation, because inflation is so real at the moment?
Yeah, sure. So first things, on top of infill drilling, we're also closing out on the different prep work that are needed for the PFS. So met tests are well ongoing. We're just closing out on geomechanical testing in lab, but also field work. Same thing on geotechnical. So obviously we'll have much more information to feed that PFS that we use for PEA. So first thing we'll do on the new resources, so updated values from that point. Also rework the layout to optimize the layout and how we use the land around the different mining open pits. Also, there's a different trade-off studies that are included in the PFS. So tailings, the deposition methods and treatment, mine to mill optimization, and also leaching trade-off. So basically, it's really to start from the PEA. We have a good study there. So we're not starting from scratch. So we're really building up on the PEA with the new information to extract the most value that we have, and also understand what we need to do for the next steps.
Hang on, two quick questions. So in the pre-feasibility stage, as you say, you do the trade-off studies. You're always trying to optimize. You're trying to get the best fit in terms of scale and processing. Just a quick question: are you looking at different throughput rates? Are you looking at different output rates? I mean, I know you've been talking in the past about a life of mine average about 115,000 ounces per annum. With the flexibility to increase to 150 if you get the resource perhaps at Campflow Deeps or wherever. Are you looking at different scale sizes now, and putting in, I don't know, capacity so that you can expand later on, or changing grade? I mean, just could you talk to me a little bit about how you size the operation?
Yeah, good question. So first we need to define the resource before to see the evolution from the PEA. So, and knowing that, then we'll do the optimization as we always do, trying to optimize the grade profile and tonnage across the mine life. At this point, it's difficult to say if it will move from the PEA numbers, because we need to know the resource at the beginning. But for sure, it will be part of those trade-off evaluation. But it's more than that. It's more than that, just a tonnage profile and a life of mine optimization. It's also how we will do it. So even it's inside that same life of mine, how we can optimize the project and see where we can improve, and on the same side what we can do after that TFS to still improve that project.
Thank you. And on the processing side, are you clear about the processing flow sheet? And I mean, obviously these things have been mined historically, but those were for the vein material. So you're now looking at bulk material. Are you comfortable that you're settled on a chosen process route that won't change from the PEA, or is that still open for discussion?
Yeah, so PEA result for it's a standard processing for the region. So there's no surprise there. There's still metallurgy tasks are still ongoing, but there's no surprise. So we'll still optimize the grinding circuit and the mine to mill optimization. But in terms of processing, the gravity leach won't change at this point. There's no surprise, or there's no big difference.
Great. And metallurgies, grain size. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm ignorant for those kinds of greenstones, but do you have arsenopyrite? Do you have kind of fine grains? Do you have kind of, what's your recoveries like?
So in terms of comparison with the region, it's as soft and a coarser target. So we don't have those fancy stuff. So it's easy to leach coarse target. So we're still finalizing the numbers. It's difficult to say today, but But if we compare to the different mine around, so we'll definitely be coarser than the average, which is around 75 microns in the region. We'll be coarser than that for sure. It was for the PEA. Well, it's on the same line.
And no encapsulated gold, no arsenopyrite.
No arsenopyrite.
Great. So kind of clean and simple, and you benefit from that famously low power cost in Quebec.
Exactly.
Good. Perhaps now's a good time to talk about potential feeders from Campflow. I saw in the corporate presentation there was a kind of, I think, a long section with representation of Malartic, which I because I'm ignorant in the area, I didn't understand about the geographical proximities. Is it that close so that you can represent it on a long section?
Yeah, I can. You see that presentation here?
Yes, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the slide I didn't understand, so it'd be great if you could explain it to me.
So let's start with this one. So you see it's a composite cross section across the entire district. Here is the Marban pit, North-Arctic, Kieran's, a smaller gold dock, OIII that was mined underground, Malartic high grade, all of those. And Campflow is here, and it's dipping to the north. About where my hand is, that's the limit between our property to the north and the Canadian Malartic property to the south. So, and you see the historical mine there, and the continuity at depth of the ore bodies. In yellow is the main Campflow plug that we call it's a cyanide. Well, they called it a cyanide, but in fact it's not a cyanide. It's hematized, probably granodiorite, very circular shape intrusion. That was affected by a gold-bearing structure. So that plug continues at depth and is open at depth. And there is another smaller zone that they called historically the diorite ore. It contained only 10% of the gold produced. So it's not in amount of gold. It's not the main target. The main target is really the main plug here.
So you've got rights over how much of that?
Sorry?
You've got, so at what depth do you start having rights?
800 meters vertical.
Okay.
And the bottom of the, so you see here, well, sorry about that. It's this one is looking north and this one is looking south. So we have to fix that. So you see our property limit is here at about 800 vertical, exactly, and the bottom of the historical mine is at 1,166 meters. That's the bottom of the historical production, and before they closed the mine, Barrick drilled 22 drill holes to get an appraisal of the continuity of the deposit below the deepest level. Yep. And at that time, with the gold price that they had, and also their priorities dramatically shifting outside of Canada, it's about the time that they went into Nevada. Yep. So they decided to not to deepen the mine and close it. So we have the information of those 22 drill holes, and that's what supported with a quick calculation of the value of what could be a resource down there. It appeared to us more than enough to support drilling. To support and build on a resource below the last level. So here is a representation in green of the mother hole with the daughter holes. aiming at testing the extension of the deposit below what Barrick had drilled. And we decided also that we had to drill test what Barrick did drill in order to get
calibration.
Sorry?
A calibration.
Yeah, calibration, and also because the core is not available, and these assays were done at the Campflow mine, so we don't have assay certificates. So it's impossible to have QA/QC on those. So we decided to drill some holes there. So in red you have the drill holes, same thing, one mother hole and other holes testing the diorite ore inside our property.
You've drilled, you've done those holes that you showed in red, you've done the holes you showed in green, and you've drilled underneath the old, you've drilled where the Barrick 22 holes were. Is that correct?
We are in that process now. Yeah.
And so when you talk about putting numbers out or results out for Campflow, is it going to be for all of those holes, or are you you're still drilling?
We're still drilling. Like we have right now, we're in the process of finishing the first one, which is crossing through the area where Barrick hole was. We'll put another hole 150 meters below, and another hole will go even 300 meters below, a long strike, and we'll be able to understand what's going on there. And if we could have enough ore, that will be valuable for us to go underground. And
okay, I've got two immediate questions. I've got lots of questions, but two immediate questions. The first one is, you've described it very vividly, Louis. So you must be able to see the cyanite or the hematized granodiorite, whatever you want to call it, the Campflow plug. You must be able to see that very clearly with the eye. And what about the diorite? Can you see that?
Yeah, right. The diorite is easy to recognize when you get into it. You see the alteration. Unfortunately, what we cannot appreciate is we cannot predict the grade at Campflow. Campflow is disseminated mineralization in the form of pyrite over magnetite with stringers of pyrite, sometimes quartz veinlets, and very little sulfides, 1 to maximum 2% pyrite, but it was the same in we hired a geologist who was working at the mine when it was Barrick. So and he confirmed what we could appreciate from the historical information is it's not predictable. You see the mineralization. Sometimes it's low grade. Sometimes there's a kick. You can only be sure when you see visible gold, which is not frequent at Campflow.
Okay, good. But at least you can see the geology, so you know when you've hit it. You know when you're in the structure, and
this is totally clear.
Yeah.
It's crystal clear, but we have to wait for the assay results, unfortunately.
Sure. Well, I look forward to those. I mean, hopefully that'll be interesting reading in the months ahead. How would you access that ore? Just kind of hypothetically, what are your options of getting to it?
Well, maybe I'll let Jean-Félix talk about that if you want.
Yeah, sure. So obviously at the depth, it will be we will need a shaft at that depth. So it's really early in the process to say how big it can be or what exactly we'll need. There's still some infrastructure from the old Campflow mine. So, but obviously it will be an underground mine.
But could you use the existing shaft down to 1,100 meters or 1,200 meters, or do you have to go on your own shaft?
As I said, so it's really early. So it may be an option. So there's three options. There's using the old shaft, and then go with the ramp, using the old shaft and go with the WIMS, and deepening the old one, or start a new one from scratch. So that's pretty much the option that you have. Which one will be better? It will need more result from Luis to say which one will be.
On those lines, the initial numbers that our consultants were giving is that at this moment, at least, making the previous shaft bigger will cost us as much as doing a new shaft. But of course, those things are changing all the time, as Jean-Félix well explained. So we'll have to wait for final numbers once we know better about the genesis of what we have in the Campflow pod.
Yeah, but potential throughput will be the key point to decide which option will be better. Obviously, the old shaft will be limited on throughput, as the mine in during those time were lower throughput mines. But as I said, we need more numbers to define that throughput and then decide which option is better.
Yeah, that's right. That's the key point that Jean-Félix just explained. We have to see what we have down there, and what kind of deposit, the grade, the size, and that's really the objective that we're seeking right now with our exploration drill holes every 150 meters down the plug, to give us an initial appraisal of what we have down there, and see if, well, first to see if it can be economic, and if it is, well, what is the best way, right? Just imagine if we find, because we know it's disseminated, and inside that low-grade dissemination, it's a bit like Marban. They took out the higher-grade structures, even though they were pretty wide, 15 to 20 meters wide. Campflow was famous for those large underground openings, but there is still grade in what was left. So is it going to be a repetition of what they mined up there, which was stopes of maybe 15 meters wide with an average of 5 to 6 grams per ton? Or could it be a 50 meters wide deposit at 2.5 grams? So, I mean, it's very different, right?
Okay, well, lots of optionality there. Now, time ticks on. Let's move on to two other areas. One is I'd like to know what the plan is on the exploration to the northwest of Marban, and for the rest of the year, what you're looking at in terms of growing your resource base. And the second is, well, let's talk about Bulldog as well up at Alpha. But first of all, can we talk about the exploration plans for 2022 on the rest of the kind of the Marban prospect areas, outside of looking out of the resource rather than looking in?
Okay, so the pre-feasibility project stops about here. There are zones here that we know, like the H zone, the W zone that was discovered in the past with the grades that you see on the screen. There is also the Odette zone in the northwest. I don't know why looks like I cannot zoom in more. But anyway, zone Odette is located here. It's in a plug. So it obviously anyone can make a quick comparison between Odette and the Campflow mine that is down here. It's located at the same volcanic sediment contact. Those are in blue, the Kewagama Gariepy formation. And to the northeast, the volcanic package. So Campflow is down here, and the Odette zone is sitting up there at the same contact. There was a bulk mining, a bulk sample taken there. There's a lot of disseminated gold. It was drilled down to about 300 meters, but we're not sure about the potential laterally. And as you see, it's all falling on our property. So there's more than about 4 or 5 kilometers of that contact that we can explore on that property. There's also the Ludovic zone that's associated with another a structural corridor similar and parallel to the Marbanite and Norbanite. So you see a 2.7 over 1.2 here. Ludovic, you have a 3 grams over 6, 8 over 3. So all of that has the potential to extend on that part of the property. So there is more that to be explored over there.
What are you budgeting in terms of drilling?
Right now, we didn't earmark an amount of meters to be drilled there. We have a preliminary work to be done. There is no historical MAG survey covering that area. We just have the ministry very wide spaced MAG, and MAG in this environment is key to locate potential areas and to target. We have a very good MAG survey over the Marban pre-feasibility area, and in March we're going to cover the entire rest of the property with drone MAG at 50 meters spacing, very low elevation. So it's going to be a very useful tool to that plus the historical results. So it's going to be a fantastic tool to delineate target areas in which we will follow up during the summer with geology, perhaps geochemistry, if the overburden is not too thick. And the plan is to come up, it's the end of the summer, maybe September, with a drill program based on all those works.
Merlin, one part that is very important to understand here to your question on what are you guys drilling outside of the main pits that we were drilling inside. What Luis has is a program within that area that we call the Marban engineering, where he will be drilling to find more ore outside of those pits, but in that southern area. And that's the immediate drilling that we will have for the next couple of months. Then towards September, moving on the more greenfields area. So that means the northeast areas that we have outside of the pit, but still within the area of influence of the engineering studies.
So kind of almost brownfields, even though it's not in operation yet.
That's exactly what it is. It's brownfields, and what Luis just spoke about that you took him there was more on the greenfields idea, and certainly it shows the prospectivity of this project. No, I mean, although it has been a very mature terrain, you can see how much more can be done here.
Yeah. And have you got a kind of have you got a program for that? Let's call it the resource expansion in that area. Have you got a number of rigs or a number of meters that you can share, or is that still internal?
No, we have a program which was explained on our letter to shareholders early in the year for, I think it's around 30,000 meters in the case of Alpha, and 40,000 meters in the case of Marban.
So that 30,000 meters will be divided into between the Campflow extension and those targets outside the pits near surface that Jose just explained.
Okay, great. Well, let's quickly go on to Alpha. Let's go to Bulldog. It's got nice grade, I see, and you've got a resource targeted there for September.
That's correct. Okay, so I'll share that screen here. So this is a zoom over the. Sorry, I'll annotate something here. Okay, so you see that figure is located here. Yeah. With respect to the entire Alpha property. It's located, as you see here, in just west of the East Sullivan Pluton, and we have all the reasons to believe now, with all the studies that we completed, namely the artificial intelligence study that we completed with Myra last year. It's pretty clear that the Bulldog area is located inside a pressure shadow.
Nice, classic.
Classic, correct. So we're and that explained very clearly and very strongly why we have the bulldog mineralization in this area. And the good news that we have now, while drilling bulldog deeper, we had to step back, obviously, and we found out that other zone, Kappa, that is building up, and that is a stag zone about 150 meters north of bulldog. So we're quite excited about that because it's in the same general area and it offers potential to grow.
So it looks it's not the same. It's quite the same geology because you're in the Greywackies, aren't you? Or is it on the boundary between the Greywackies?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's in the. Sorry, I should have explained geology. It's in the same environment. The trick here is the relationship with those dikes coming off a larger intrusion in that area. The mineralization is strictly related to those dikes, and again, it's probably a rheological contrast between softer and harder rock. So, and there is another dike here in between, right? Until now, it didn't prove up to be mineralized, but we never know. We could have surprises.
And two questions. So that dike is a different age, and presumably, and have you got good geophysics over this? Have you got good mag survey over this area?
It doesn't show very well on the geophysics.
Interesting.
Nothing clear at least.
Ah, okay. Well,
okay, so that makes
life harder.
Sorry?
That makes life harder.
Yeah, right. So that's a very quick outline of what could be the deposit limits at Bulldog. You see that, and this is in a press release that we released. I don't recall exactly when. We released the results from Bulldog above 450 meters some months ago, and now we will keep delineating, and we hope that with this drilling above 450 meters, we should be in a position to reach the inferred category above that limit, and we will drill a bit more in provision of the resource estimate that we planned for September. This is going to happen this winter and summer, and also we have this area here where those intercepts suggest that we could have another zone at Bulldog that is open to the west for now. So you see that it's about 300 meters wide, the area of that has the economic potential, 300 meters wide by so far 500 meters, and we have indications that we have no reason to believe that it's closed at depth, so it looks like it's open.
What's it feel like? Can you give an average thickness?
Bulldog, I'd say 6 meters.
Okay.
And
so you can draw an open pit down quite a long way.
Open pit at Bulldog, it's where
but it feels more like an underground target.
Yeah, it really looks like an underground opportunity here. And this is a Kappa zone, 150 meters to the north. So as you see, as you remember, it's to the north, we're drilling north to south. So every time we aim for the Bulldog zone, we will cross the Kappa zone.
Yeah.
So this is why you see in here a good number of intercepts, because those drill holes were aiming at the Bulldog.
Yeah.
And it's really when we cut that 4.4 grams over 4.1 meters at Bulldog, that was the start of that new potential area right just to the east of the Bulldog. If I would put the Bulldog zone outline in here, it would be here.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we cut that 4 grams while drilling at Bulldog to the east, so we were obviously pretty happy, and even happier when 100 meters down here we got a 12 grams over 8 meter. That was just released last week, I believe it was. So this thing is open, as you see, down dip, and to the east also. This latest intercept is wide open to the east. We have these intercepts also open here. We believe if it's something similar to Bulldog, we should be looking at more or less vertical rake, but we don't know for sure because we see that Kappa is a bit of a different animal geologically, while Bulldog is disseminated pyrite in sericitized, albitized, and silicified dikes with no veins whatsoever. The disseminated pyrite. Kappa is located within a strongly biotized envelope that can be 20 or 30 meters wide, affecting the entire dike. And high-grade intercepts at Kappa are associated with an overprint of pyrite, chalcopyrite, epidote, and calcite veinlets.
You can see it as a geologist. Is the work up until that resource estimate focused on drilling out kind of quite spatially constrained holes to those 2 main features? And do you have another rig doing kind of regional stuff at Alpha, or is it you're just no, I'm not. I don't mean just, but are you focused on Bulldog within the Alpha zone for the resource?
No, you're correct. We're not. We have it's twofold. One is expanding on 50 to 100 meter spacing in the extension of what I just showed on the longitudinal, and we have another rig that is going more regional. So I show here a zoom out that allows you to wait a minute. I'll find. Well,
you can use there's the Alpha property there on the top right of the screen.
Sorry. Yeah. So you see a Kappa and Bulldog. So that other rig is going to test the extension towards the west.
Yeah.
And also to the east. So this is going to be a 400 meter step out, or say, to hopefully identify and find other shoots, other ore shoots. Well, I just said 400 meters, but it's not that. I think we decided to go 250 or 300 max, and based on the fact that the ore shoot at Bulldog is 300 meters wide on the east-west. So if say the concept is, let's say we have other ore shoots like that to the west and to the east. So by drilling 250 meter, 300 meter spacing, if there is another one, we should hit it.
And one important thing that I think at least get me extremely excited, and I assume Luis as well, is the fact of understanding that we are dealing with intrusions. We are dealing with, in quotes, sort of quasi-porphyry. So it really allows you to understand these things better once we understood that. So we know in which part of the system we are when we are in areas with more sericite or areas with more biotite. So when we reach these areas, we don't stop the drills, but rather continue until we hit the areas that are mineralized. And that has been a very big advancement in our understanding of the geology that has not been immediate. I mean, when we started, we were stopping some holes that now we have to go back and continue, because now we know, oh, we were in sericite, we never hit the biotite, so now we should have continued. Now let's continue, and boom, we start hitting things again. And that has right now, I think we haven't missed one single area of structure. I'm not saying that everything is mineralized, but the structure itself not missed.
Fantastic. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. My understanding of what you're doing and what you're looking at is so hugely improved, having had the luxury of speaking to you for 45 minutes. Jose, is there what have I missed? You know, what would you like to add that I haven't asked about in terms of the kind of the potential of the area?
Maybe the only part that I would like to add is that I feel extremely proud to have the team that we have. Luis has over 20 years experience, was part of the group that actually discovered Cerro Lindo. He's very humble, not talking too much about his discoveries, but he's someone that has been involved in this industry and knows exactly what he's doing. And Jean-Félix is coming from one of the most prestigious companies to work with us and to take care of the pre-feasibility study. So I think we have a top-notch team working with us and progressing this project to what it's our dream, which is to become a producer. We don't want to give the impression that we're one more company there trying to put holes and eventually just look for sale. No, we want to look into production. If as a consequence of that, maybe we have to face takeover, that's a different story, but we want to be a producer.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, until the next time.
Bye-bye.